I now call the Monday, July 13th, 2020 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Prescott Valley to order. This time, I'd like to invite Chaplain Gary Walker up to do our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Chair Larry Rankin. Would you please stand?
Heavenly Father, we give you all the praise and all the honor and all the glory, Lord, and ask that you be here tonight, Lord, as this agenda is brought forth for the community, Lord. We ask that you bless each and every one that's here, Lord, and the planning commissioners here, that you would have your truth prevail. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you. This time we have the approval of the minutes from the March 9th, 2020 meeting. It's been a while, but is there a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th? Oh, attendance. My apologies. Item number 4, attendance. Christy, would you roll call, please?
Commissioner Rutherford? Commissioner Musara?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts? Commissioner Yater? Commissioner Laney?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Rankin?
Here.
Chairperson Zurcher?
Here. All right, so now we do approval of minutes. So is there a motion to approve the minutes from the March 9th meeting?
I'd like to approve the minutes from the March 9th meeting.
I'll go ahead and second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Minutes are approved. At this point in time, we have announcements, and I'll go ahead and just read my opening into the record. Good evening. My name is Matt Zurcher. I'm the chairperson of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I'll be presiding over this evening's deliberations that the commission will be hearing. The Planning and Zoning Commission sits in an advisory capacity to the Town Council and reviews planning and zoning issues and forwards recommendations regarding these important issues to the Council. The Commission is bound by specific regulations and guidelines for considering applications, and there are also a surprising number of things the Commission cannot take into consideration when reviewing an application. Finally, members of the Commission are volunteers and not paid employees. We donate our time for the betterment of the town. This evening's proceedings will be conducted using the following format. First, I will read the hearing application into the record. Once the application has been read into the record, staff will present the case and the recommendations to the Commission. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission will then direct any questions they have regarding the application to staff. After the Commission completes its initial review of the application, the applicant will have an opportunity to comment regarding the matter and answer any questions. After the applicant has completed their comments, I will open the floor to general comments from the public regarding the current application being discussed. This time, does staff have any announcements?
Chairman, two things. One, we have a new planner on staff, Ed Packard, if you'd stand up. Hiding in the back over there. Ed joined us a few months ago. He's been working on our owner-occupied housing rehab program, and he'll be presenting to you into the future. It also then saddens me, but I have to announce that Mr. Joe Scott is leaving this organization. As many of you know, Joe has been the backbone of the planning department for a long time. He and I have shared those duties for some 25 years now. And so I respect Joe and his decision to go off to other things with the rest of his life. But I wanted to share with you my deepest regard for him and hope he continues to do well in his future endeavors. I can remember Joe way back to a career move before I came to the town when I worked for Yavapai County. So he and I have been lockstep for about 30 years. He's going to be sorely missed. I wish I could stick a syringe in his head and suck out everything that he's learned about the town of Prescott Valley and inject it in Ed's head, but unfortunately that's not the case. But if you join me, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, in recognizing Joe for his significant contributions to planning in Prescott Valley, I would certainly appreciate it.
Definitely. Joe, please come on up. Joe, since this is your last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and you're retiring after nearly 25 years of dedicated service to the town of Prescott Valley, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the commission, and I wish you the best in your retirement.
Great, yeah.
If any other commissioners want to add anything.
And I was surprised that you were able to get along with your leader as well as he says you do. So
It works out.
that's a compliment in itself.
We've got a good professional relationship and know how to get, focus on the jobs and what needs to be done. And it's been real good for both of us. I learned a lot from his tutelage, his experience and stuff, so it's been good.
Great knowing you, Joe.
Yep. Okay, we're ready.
All right. And then I do want to welcome Commissioner Sandra Laney to the commission. This is her first commission meeting, so welcome to the commission. And do you have anything to add?
I'm sorry?
Want to add anything?
Sure. I mean,
All right. So we'll move right into item number 7, public hearing items. I'm going to read numbers 1 and 2 into the record, and we'll go from there. Number 1 is General Plan Amendment 20-002. Upon the application of Jake Investments LLC, a request for a general plan amendment for medium high-density residential to regional commercial on vacant lots 6743 and 6728 in Unit 16 in order to adopt the zoning district designation of P1 parking, to develop additional parking in conjunction with the adjacent commercial use. The property is located between Prairie Lane and Fulton Drive, approximately 100 feet south of Roundup Drive. Item number 2, zoning map change 20-004. Upon the application of Jake Investments LLC, a request for a zoning map change from R2-4 residential multiple dwelling units to P1 parking on lots 6743 and 6728 in Unit 16 in order to develop additional parking in conjunction with the adjacent commercial use. The property is located between Prairie Lane and Fulton Drive, approximately 100 feet south of Roundup Drive. Joe?
Thank you, Chairman Commission. The map here shows the Prescott Valley Unit 16, which was part of the town when incorporated, and most of it is in the floodplain. There were a few lots developed when it was in the county, but since it's been in the town of Prescott Valley and the sewer district improvements were completed, the town policy has been not to allow connection to the town sewer system for property or structures that are in the floodplain. So that's kept from development from occurring. There have been a couple, map changes to in a couple small places that have allowed additional development. And because of its location, it's going to be adjacent to when the extension of Santa Fe Loop Road extends up to State Route 89A. It'll be very accessible to the highway, so Commission and Council have supported general plan amendments to commercial and rezonings to P1 for parking. Again, so that town policy and with the Commission's approval and Council has been to allow parking in the floodplain when it's zoned P1 and used in conjunction with a primary commercial building that is not in the floodplain. So that's the case here. So the subject lots 6743 and 6728 are vacant and in the FEMA floodplain. The property to the south is also vacant in the floodplain. All the adjacent property to the south, currently zoned P1 parking, was approved in 1997, in 2000, and also in 2001. And the existing P1 parking area is also in the floodplain, is used for parking of vehicles in conjunction with the existing Yavapai mechanical business and buildings on the adjacent property to the south that are zoned C3, which was rezoned in 1990. And all of the lots comprising the current P1 parking area and the C3 for the Yavapai mechanical site were most recently combined by a reversionary plat. 1807 that was approved along with a recent rezoning of GPA 1803 and ZMC 1803 for the lots that are directly south of these two lots. The intent now is to amend the general plan to regional commercial and rezone both lots of P1 parking for use with a primary commercial use. Reversion of Plat 2001 was previously approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission on February 10th of 2020, and the Town Council in February of 2020 to combine, again, all the previous lots, and that would be a case that would follow up with another reversionary plat to combine all these of one. I've been conducted a neighborhood meeting regarding the request for the general plan amendment zoning map change, and it was reported that one other person attended the meeting and had no objections to the request. Planning Zoning Commission, Town Council, again, have supported commercial rezoning in a few of the R2 lots in Unit 16 that are not in the floodplain, or to P1 parking when impacted by the floodplain, but used in conjunction with for parking and storage with adjacent primary commercial use. So staff supports GPA 2002 and ZMC 2004, recommends approval of each with a separate motion. With that, I'm available for any questions. I don't see that the applicant is here, but I'm available for any questions.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions of staff?
Nothing.
All right. Seeing none, you said the applicant is not here?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. At this point in time, what we'll do then is go ahead and open up the public hearing for both General Plan Amendment 20-002 and Zoning Map Change 20-004. Is there anyone wishing to address the commission with regard to either one of these? Sir. Yes, sir.
I represent Budget Mini Storage, or Storage Experts. We're the neighbors of where the new zoning is proposed to exist. I don't know if I said that right, but I'm doing my best here.
Real quick, what is your name for the record?
My name is Steve Cass, and I'm the area manager for Budget Mini Storage, or Storage Experts.
Thank you.
Now, we have a number of properties here in the Prescott Valley area as well as Chino. We do not have really an objection as long as the parking rezoning is not for storage needs. Basically, if it's just for his own property use, his own commercial use, we do not object to that. But if there is a possibility that it could be rezoned and then used as a storage facility for parking and storage, that we would have concerns with, especially since currently with our own parking, we're at 50% on 3 properties in the area. So a new competitor for parking storage, commercial or otherwise, could be a concern for us. No, I don't consider his own commercial needs to be an issue here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then I think that's basically all I have. Other than that, it looks like this wouldn't normally be zoned for even though it's zoned residential, it sounds like it's in a floodplain. Building wouldn't happen there. Were there to be building there, it would be helpful to our business if there were more houses built in that area.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to address the commission? All right, I'll close the public hearing on both of these items. Joe, would you come back up and just, if you can, address the one concern about could this potentially be rezoned for storage?
I did speak to somebody else from the facility and explain that to have a commercial storage for storing other people's vehicles, you would need the commercial C3 zoning, and so that's the reason we use the P1. It allows just the parking of vehicles for his business, so it can't be used for a commercial storage business.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for a motion. Is there a motion to approve General Plan Amendment 20-002?
I'll make that motion to approve GPA 20-002.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara,
Yes.
Commissioner Laney,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin,
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher.
And yes. So separate motion, is there a motion to approve zoning map change 20-004, subject to the conditions listed in our packet?
I'll make that motion to approve ZMC 20-004, subject to the listed conditions.
Is there a second?
Second? Yes.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara,
Yes.
Commissioner Laney,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin,
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher.
Yes. All right, so item number 3 under public hearing items, we also are going to take item number 1 under action items and combine them, so we'll hear both. So item number 3 under public hearing items is zoning map change 20-005. Upon the application of Peter Burgoyes, agent, a request for a zoning map change from C2 PAD, Commercial General Sales and Services Planned Area Development, to RS PAD, Residential and Services Planned Area Development, on approximately 5.4 acres encompassing Baja Circle right-of-way and Prescott Valley Unit 24, lots 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And under action items, preliminary development plan 20-003, upon the application of Peter Burgoyes, agent, a request for a preliminary development plan for a 144-unit apartment complex comprised of 6 buildings located on approximately 5.4 acres encompassing Baja Circle right-of-way in Prescott Valley Unit 24, lots 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Prescott Valley Unit 24 is shown on the graphic here. And this was established in Yavapai County in 1973 when it was platted, and was included in the incorporation boundaries of the town of Prescott Valley in 1978, and comprises the 10 lots as shown, including the Baja Circle right-of-way. When incorporated, the adopted zoning was C1, commercial neighborhood sales and services, and that was as it was existed in the county at time of annexation. In 1993, the zoning of Unit 24 was changed from C1 to the C2, commercial general sales and services, with approval of Ordinance 301. Presently, there are 3 lots that have been developed, Lot 4 with the charter school and lots 5 and 6, which have been combined by reversionary plat with the electrical company. The current C1 zoning allows for a broad variety of commercial uses, as discussed in a little more detail in your brief. The proposed RS district zoning allows by right the R2 multiple dwelling units as a matter of right, and the RS district serves as a transition between the general commercial and low-density residential. This is shows the area zoning, and the zoning along the western portion of Addis Avenue is also zoned RS, as is all the lots surrounding Unit 18 and Unit 24, and have been developed mostly with duplexes. The project has been planned in such a way to fit within the existing mix of commercial and residential character of the area, and serves as an appropriate transition between the existing commercial uses and the residential neighborhood. The location is shown here is easily accessible to State Route 89A, as well as Viewpoint Drive. The general plan designation is community commercial, which is consistent with the RS district for the general plan 2025 land use table exhibit LU4. Shows the overlay of what the preliminary development plan looks like superimposed on the aerial of the neighborhood. Again, as you'd stated, the Baja Professional Apartments is 144 units comprised of 6 3-story buildings. Proposed development site includes 7 of the Unit 24 lots, the 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and the town street, which is proposed to be abandoned by the town and combined to form a single contiguous 5.4-acre parcel. A new private road will be developed to town standards to provide access to the apartment project, as well as provide legal access via an easement to the 3 existing occupied lots at the south end of Baja Circle. The apartment will be a mix of 1 and 2-bedroom units to target the market of professional workforce tenants such as first responders, medical professionals, teachers, police, fire personnel, as well as the student market. Target rental prices are $1,000 to provide much needed affordable housing. The primary goal of the Prescott Valley General Plan 2025. The apartments will be managed by a professional management company with an on-site manager. None of the buildings will exceed the allowed 35-foot height as allowed by the current zoning standards. Again, the buildings are placed on the site in such a manner as to maximize the distance between them and the adjacent residential properties and uses by providing some parking and such around the perimeter, keeps the buildings set back from those properties. Landscaping site improvements will meet town site development standards, and landscape screening provided around the perimeter of the site, and a 6-foot masonry wall that will be placed as an additional screening on the west and south sides of the project. The landscape will include low water use, drought-tolerant landscape plant species, drip irrigation systems will limit water use, parking lot lighting will be incorporated with full LED, full shielding cutoff for dark sky conformance, and the project will be built in 3 phases. Sewer and water is available in the adjacent alleys that surrounds the property, and final drainage plans will be prepared as part of the final development plan. The traffic volumes resulting from the zoning of the multifamily probably shouldn't exceed the traffic generated if the site were developed as commercial, but the town engineer has requested a traffic statement that includes the AM and PM peak hour trips to and from the project, plus the AM and peak hour trips for all directions at the Addis Avenue and Viewpoint Drive intersection to help assess the need for any improvements at that intersection and on Addis Avenue adjacent to the site. The traffic statement is required as in the conditions of approval and will need to be approved prior to a final development plan submittal. The project will meet emergency access requirements of the Central Arizona Fire and Medical Authority. Again, a neighborhood meeting was held by the applicant on June 10th this year, with owners within a 1,000-foot area radius being noticed. It was reported that 10 invitees attended and addressed questions that were provided in your packet as a meeting summary. To review the general plan 2025's vision statement reads in part that residential developments contribute to the unique character brought about by the individuality of our neighborhoods to remain safe, attractive, and affordable places for families to live, learn, work, and play. The required PAD site plan approval process as being done here is intended to ensure that development is safe and attractive. Also, guiding principles goals of the housing element include HA1.1 that says to support development that is located adjacent in close proximity to existing utility and roadway infrastructure, and support development that builds out existing neighborhoods and master plan communities. So again, Commission is being asked to consider ZMC 2005 and PDP 1903 with separate motions. First, Commission has been asked to consider the request for the zoning map change from C2 to RSPAD on the approximate 5.4 acre parcel. Cubs Baja Circle is in conformance with the General Plan 2025 and appropriate at this location with the limitations set forth as with the conditions of approval. Again, the proposed RSPAD zoning will open the opportunity to provide much needed affordable housing while infilling long vacant land that is close to existing infrastructure, eliminating the need for expansion of infrastructure and town services. The residential uses is also more consistent with the adjacent residential uses on the west and south sides of the property. So again, staff recommends Commission make a motion to approve ZMC 2005 with a recommendation with the recommended conditions, and then follow up with a recommendation on the preliminary development plan PDP 2003. With that, I'm ready for questions, and the applicant is also here.
All right, thank you, Joe.
I have 2 questions, Joe.
Sure.
One would be if you can identify the road that will access the existing properties that are there at the present time.
Yeah. So we go back. You saw the original Baja Circle, the way it's configured now, and this shows the area that is proposed to be abandoned. Again, and when it's with the final development plan, and after it's abandoned, then they would develop the access road here to establish a local street standard that would come down and provide a legal access easement that would provide access to those existing developed lots. So that would be the access that would be provided. You can't see my light on there. To look up there, actually, if you can see it. But anyway.
I'm still not really sure how that's going to work. I can't see what you're pointing to there.
Yeah, unless you can look back.
So pretty much from what I kind of get what Commissioner Masura is asking, so pretty much with the abandonment of Baja Circle, they're going to be putting a new access road in cul-de-sac to access the existing properties.
Correct, but it will be privately maintained, but there would be a public access easement to allow anybody to travel down that portion of it to access their property at the end of the street there.
And then my second question would be the retention for water, to stop the water from going to the properties on Horseshoe.
That would be part of the final development plan, but I'm sure the applicant, Peter, can explain basically where those detention areas would be to keep those flows.
Because I was trying to visualize where the retention area would be, and I'm
thinking Peter can probably help us out with that based on the slopes and the properties. So if that's okay to let him to address that.
Okay.
Any other commissioners have questions of staff? All right. At this point in time, I'll ask the applicant to come up. And Peter, just go ahead and state your name for the record.
Peter Burgoyes, I'm the, the agent for the applicant for these two applications. Chairperson Zurcher and members of the commission, thanks for meeting. I know the playing field's kind of changed a little bit over the past few months, and we're all adjusting to it, but I appreciate you taking the time to hear this. It's important that we have these meetings. I'm glad we're all back to work in a little different way. Joe covered everything really well, and I'll respond to your question about the drainage. Also, just backing up a little bit on the access for the roadway. Baja Circle will be designed and built to town standards, so it'll be essentially a town road, but in private ownership, with that easement allowable for PS Electric and the county to get to their properties. And the cul-de-sac, like Joe said, the plans have been reviewed by CAFMA for emergency access and will adhere to those requirements. The drainage, and before I go any further, Greg Allen is with us tonight, and he's the civil engineer who's worked on the project, and he's done preliminary grading and drainage calculations. And if you look at your plan, the color plan, and if that's on your screen or in your packet, the light green areas that you see on the plan along the roadways, along the parking, you'll see them in various locations along the drive, and particularly down in the southwest corner. There's an area there, and that's where we got some comments from one of the adjacent owners concerned about the drainage. Those are the basins, the retention basins, detention basins that will be placed on the site so that they'll collect the water coming off the site and meter it off at a slow rate. Now there's also along the west property line, which is the one over on the left-hand side, where you see the trees mixed with some light green area along there. There's a series of basins going down along there as well. Greg, am I covering it correctly? Yes, that's correct. Okay. We will be retaining.
Yeah.
My name is Greg Allen. I'm with Allen Consulting Engineers. I live in Prescott. We are retaining the difference between the pre and the post so that we will not be exceeding what the existing runoff that goes off the site at this time. In our citizens meeting, there was a gentleman and his wife that were there that were the owners of the property, and they expressed some concern right at the southwest corner of the site that there'd been a lot of water come through. We went and talked to the owners, to the owners, the occupants who had lived there, had rented the place for about 9 years. She said she has never had anything close to being flooded. There is no problem for going through there. We are willing, we'll work with them, and if we see there is some need, we'll do some modification on that alley that goes along her west side to help her with that existing problem. Any other questions?
Just a couple quick items, excuse me, just a couple quick items. And Joe touched on these, I just want to emphasize them. This is a good site for an apartment complex. The transition that he talked about between the land uses, the residential to commercial, is good. Access to existing utilities and roadway network is good. The plan, as you can see, and as Greg was talking about, has really been designed kind of in respect for the area. We're able to concentrate the buildings in the center of the site, so it gives some buffer to the surrounding residences. And then finally, the market that Joe read about, the target market is for professionals, professional caregivers, professional teachers, professional first responders. So it's really fitting a need in the community. And there'll be a professional management company and manager on site to manage it. So it fits well within the context. So if any more questions? I don't want to cut anybody off.
I agree. It's a great use for it.
Good.
I just want clarity on one thing, and that is I see in here that Addis Avenue is going to be improved. Is that all the way from your property all the way to Viewpoint?
Not at this time. What we looked at, and we got the comment from town engineer about adding that turn lane on Addis, a left turn lane and doing improvements. We said, let's not jump here. Let's do the traffic analysis first, which will be prior to the final development plan, like Joe mentioned, to determine whether that turn lane needs to be done. Now, what will be done, no matter what, is the sidewalk and curb along the south side of Addis on the frontage of the property. It won't go all the way to Addis or all the way to Viewpoint. It'll be confined to the property, bounds of the property. I know I noticed at least on 2 occasions people walking along the street there along Addis, and as you know, there aren't any sidewalks. A sidewalk will go a long ways to helping people get along that portion of the roadway. So at this time, no, there's no plan to go all the way out to Viewpoint with the sidewalk, but we will study it for the left turn lane and what the impact is down at Viewpoint and Addis. So,
Commissioner Laney?
Just to clarify something, looking at the plan, I'm looking at the end of the cul-de-sac where it's round, and you have the school and you have the electric company. So what you're saying then is that the parents who are picking up their children at school and the electrical company employees will all be exiting through the cul-de-sac and the private Baja lane. Is
yes.
that correct?
Yeah.
And when you do a traffic study, is that going to take that into consideration, the traffic from the school and the electrical company, not just the apartments?
We hadn't anticipated doing that, but the traffic movements would have to be anticipated coming out of those businesses as they come up to the intersection. So, yeah, the count would have to be, they'd have to be accounted for, let me put it that way. In the preliminary statement that's in your package, I believe there's some data in there on the trip generation from those 2 businesses, so those would have to be blended in there. Now, the question about, okay, picking up students or that sort of thing, from what I understand, there's not a whole lot of that type of traffic there. There's not a whole lot of students. I've seen really just the electric company traffic there. Now, that's not to say, given what's going on now,
right.
There's no school. So we'd have to anticipate that somehow. And Greg, you had some numbers in the traffic study from those two businesses or two occupants.
Yes, we have included that in it, and in the final traffic statement that we will do, that will be included in it. Just to clarify one thing so that you understand, if you look on the west property line of Baja Circle, and if you extended that on a straight line down, and then look at the curve on the right, on the east side, where they're at, we will connect that, and basically that access easement will be for that entire area, so that they will have access to the property. We know that obviously the easement will have to be extended to the property line, and we will make the connection to the existing driveways.
Does that cover it, Commissioner? Yeah.
Any other commissioners have questions of the applicant?
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. At this point in time, I will open the floor to comments with regard to zoning map change 20-005 and preliminary development plan 20-003. Is there anyone wishing to address the commission? Sir?
Hello, everybody. My name's Sean Getke, and I live in Prescott Valley, and I've been here since 1994. I moved here from Minnesota, and one thing about this town that's always been a hardship for young folks is a good place to live that you can actually afford when you're young. Instead of, I mean, there's a lot of places in town, but there's many places that you have to have two incomes to live in. And it's very hard on anyone who is younger that is starting out just to live. And that's been a big plague on our town, really. Like, there's never been an affordable place to live as someone making just over minimum wage. I definitely am for anything that would help our younger people in this town. And right now I'm 40, and I work at the pizza place right across the street from this, where this is proposed, and all the kids there are making just over minimum wage, and they all have to room together just to live. And it would be a big help in town, especially with sidewalks. And there's a lot, all the kids in the whole area, they walk to Roberts Market, and there's no sidewalks. And then there's a couple of memorials on the side of the road where kids have passed. Like, I'm for sidewalks anywhere in town, and that's also a big deal. But I really would appreciate a place for some young people, a new police officer, a new teacher, somebody who just moved here from another town to have a chance to live in our town. And when I was young, and I was 1998, I was 18, I had to roommate with people. There was no way I could, because rent compared to how much somebody makes, it's like Phoenix. The rent is the same up here, and the wages are not. So I'd really hope that everyone on this panel would consider anything to help out our people in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Anybody else wishing to address the commission?
What my name?
Yes, sir. For the record.
Joe Hammes, Hammes. Okay, you say this is going to be middle income?
Please address your comments to the commission, sir.
To you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He says it's going to be affordable income people. So do you have any figures on what the rent is actually going to be, if it's going to be any cheaper than anything else in the area? Because you're going to be developing, building, that stuff costs money. So I can't imagine how it's going to be any cheaper than anything else that's been developed in the area. We got any figures on what the rent's going to be?
We can have the applicant come back up and address that for you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Hold on just a second, Peter. We'll after the public comment section, I'll invite you back up. Come on down.
Hi, my name is Nikki Andakovich. I'm a resident here in Prescott Valley, and I work in K-12 policy. So I've heard a lot of people talk about teachers. As most of you have probably heard, we have a teachers shortage here in Arizona. When you come to rural communities, that gets really severe to the point that we have empty classrooms. So I just wanted to say from that perspective, we would definitely support developments like this because we have had teachers accept jobs here in Humboldt Unified School District and turn them down when they couldn't find a home they could afford. So just wanted to give you guys that perspective.
Anybody else wishing to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and then I'll invite the applicant back up.
The target rents right now are around $1,000, but there's a range because there's one bedroom and two bedroom apartments. The one bedrooms are shooting for less than that. Two bedrooms may be slightly higher, around the $1,000. So we're trying to keep it within a percentage of what the income would be for young professionals. So.
Any other questions of the applicant from the commission? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring it back to the commission for the discussion and or motion. First, let me, before I get into asking for a motion, I just want to say I'm very impressed with this project. I feel that we need this in our town right now, and I feel it's also in a very good location for this. I do want to compliment the applicant and staff because this, I will say, this was one very good application, and definitely appreciate the work that was put into it. That being said, anybody else have anything to say before we ask for motion? Commissioner Laney?
I would like to make one comment. I really appreciate the fact that they have done multiple housing as a buffer between the residential and the commercial. I think that is just a very positive thing for the whole area.
Vice Chair Rankin?
No, I'm just happy to see something like this come online. That property sat for almost 50 years, and I think it's time we get going with it.
All right. So that being said, is there a motion to approve zoning map change 20-005 with the conditions that are listed in our packet?
I move that we approve ZM C20-005 with the conditions as identified.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara?
Yes.
Commissioner Laney?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin?
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve preliminary development plan 20-003?
I'll make the motion to approve PDP 20-003.
Or second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara?
Yes.
Commissioner Laney?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin?
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher?
Yes. At this point in time, we'll move to item number 2 under action items. Reversionary plat 20-003 upon the application of Arsen Torosian. A request for a reversionary plat to combine Northridge Park Mobile Home Estates Tracks A and B, located at the southerly terminus of Yuppi Road, 150 feet south of State Route 69. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Commission. As shown on here, the exhibit, this shows the location of the two lots within the Northridge Park Mobile Home Estates subdivision, which again was established in Yavapai County in 1967. Of the original plat, lots 1 through 135 were zoned R1 MH, which is the residential single-family mobile or manufactured home zoning. And it was developed as a mobile home park with individual ownership lots. Tracks A through H were zoned C2 commercial, and that's the commercial general sales and services. The subdivision of the C2 subdivision and the C2 zoning again were adopted with the incorporation of Prescott Valley in 1979. Several of the tracks have since been developed, The owner of Tracks A and B now wishes to develop the property and wants to combine Tracks A and B to create a larger lot for development. So the new lot, which is AB, Lot AB, will be approximately 1.2 acres, is in conformance with the C2 zoning district. And staff recommends the commission approve RP 2003 and forward to the town council with a recommendation of approval. I don't think the applicant is here, but I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
What is the plan for the final development on the combined lots?
I got to admit, I don't know exactly. I think we have some building plans for the building. I don't have that site plan with me. It's a commercial, maybe some kind of office use. Or?
Yeah, I'm sure it will be commercial.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what the business or building is going to be.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know exactly.
Thank you.
We do have a permit in for it, and we're waiting for the approval of this.
Okay. Is the applicant?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Any comments from the public? All right. Seeing none. I'm bringing it back to the commission. Is there a motion to approve reversionary plat 20-003?
I move that we approve RP 20-003, move to the town council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara?
Yes.
Commissioner Laney?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin?
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher?
Yes. Action item number 3, FP 20-002, upon the initiation of the town engineer, a request for a plat of dedication for the reconfiguration of the intersection of Viewpoint Drive and Spouse Drive and for dedication of town right-of-way. Joe?
Yep, thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The purpose of this plat dedication for the Viewpoint Drive Spouse intersection is to establish new right-of-way limits for the Viewpoint Drive to accommodate the widened roadways expanded from 2 lanes to multiple lanes at the intersection, and to note existing and new easements and right-of-ways acquired for the expansion of public infrastructure. Again, this exhibit here better shows the realignment, and the property that's hatched is the property that was originally town lots in the floodplain, and that additional property from those lots is being incorporated again into the original Viewpoint Drive right-of-way to provide for the additional lanes and as it transitions out to the new extension road. So. Is there any questions?
So, Joe, the town owns this property now?
Correct. And so they're just, again, replatting those lots, taking a portion of those lots they own to turn it into, make it into right-of-way, additional right-of-way.
And if I'm not mistaken, those additional lots, the lots that the town currently owns, that's for flood control, correct?
Well, a portion of that would be then, the remainder could be, one part of the drainage will be in the right-of-way part of it, so.
Any other questions of staff?
None.
All right. Any comments from the public? All right, seeing none. Is there a motion to approve FP 20-002?
I'll make the motion to approve FP 20-002 and forward it on to the council with with those conditions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Musara?
Yes.
Commissioner Laney?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rankin?
Yes.
Chairperson Zurcher?
Yes. And item number 9, call to public. Consideration, discussion, or comments from the public. Those wishing to address the Planning and Zoning Commission need not request permission in advance. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Do we have anyone wishing to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll close the call to the public and bring it to item number 10, which is the adjournment of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. We stand adjourned. Thank you.